the wall to the shot. A rebound in front. Scores! Leon Draisaitl! First goal last year, game one. A chance here, and scores! Carter Verhaeghe has tied it. Off Klingberg, onto the stick to Verhaeghe. And here comes Florida. Chance in front. Bennett scores! Goes to Kapanen. Back to McDavid. Flips in front. Chance scores! Back to Nugent Hopkins. McDavid in front.
And yes, Leon Draisaitl was the game one hero, getting the first and last goal last night in game one. And there is a lot to talk about with last night's game and a lot going around the NHL. We're going to break it all down for you guys today. I, of course, am your host, Marc Williams, who got to think that might be the first game of a classic series, joined by the host of the Final Buzzer with John Filkowski. I think his name is John Filkowski.
Yeah, the last time I checked, that's what my name was. I mean, I've had other people tell me that I'm Filkowski John, but I don't know if that person's going to be in the chat today or not. But if he is, I'll point him out. But yeah, Guile theme goes with just about everything. You have to find the Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo Guile theme because that's the best one.
All right, I'll check for that one as well as the Ken theme. I always thought that was always a cool one.
That one is also the best on Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
And of course, the third part of the Triforce, the Triforce of Wisdom, the man from the Hockey News, Mr. Anthony Larocco.
Leon Draisaitl is he's just a unit, that guy. He's, maybe the second best player in the league. But yeah, he came up big last night for the Oilers, that's for sure.
Well, it's one of those things that when you see the picture of Jake Wallman laughing in the face of Tomas Nosek when he took that penalty, that's all you need to know. And that's what we're going to talk about today, guys. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So we talk about
I wonder who said this last week. I wonder who pointed out Leon Draisaitl not being healthy against the Florida Panthers last year. I wonder which one of us on the panel said this.
Yeah, shouldn't he have been suspended for didn't he pull down Barkov from behind or something? Oh no, David, don't worry, we're going to get to that at the end of this. Make sure everybody hitting the like button too. And also, let's go right to the A block, guys, where we are talking about the Stanley Cup Finals today. And the Stanley Cup Finals and the A block are, of course, brought to you by SeatGeek. Use the promo code Big Apple Hockey for $20 off your first order. Big Apple Hockey trucker hats are available in the link below. But let's get to game one of the Stanley Cup Finals. Leon Draisaitl scoring on the power play with 31 seconds remaining in overtime to seal game one for the home Canadian team. Of course, Sam Bennett, who's looking to cash in big in only about a couple weeks. He had 2 goals, his playoff leading 12th playoff goal. And of course, we're going to talk about Stuart Skinner, guys. 3 goals on his first 8 shots. Zilch the rest of the way. And of course, Connor McDavid with the primary assist on the game-tying and go-ahead goal. Filk, we'll start with you. Thoughts on the Oilers' comeback, and is this a Game 1 classic?
I'll start by saying that it's really tough to say if this is a Game 1 classic. You'd have to really go back through the years. This is probably one of the more recent memorable Game 1s that I can think of. In terms of the Oilers' comeback, they started off so great in that game in the first period, and they were all over Florida, and they were out skating them. They were out hitting them. They were getting to every loose puck. They were winning every 50-50 battle. They were, for all the stuff that I dealt with on the last stream about, Edmonton can't play Florida's game. They can't play physical. All the guys that I said that would come out and make a difference. Arvidsson, Perry, Kane, Brown, all those guys that I said that would be laying the body on Florida's guys, they did. And Leon Draisaitl was throwing his body around too a little bit. So that happened. And then, Edmonton really kind of took over. They fell back a little bit. Florida settled in and they gained that lead. But after they gained that lead, you could just tell the tide of that game was starting to change slowly. And then the third period on was just all Edmonton. All Edmonton. It wasn't even close. Florida was lucky that Edmonton didn't score 3 or 4 goals in that period. Bobrovsky played very well in that third period to keep that game from going even in a worse direction than it did. So Edmonton was able to do all the things that I said that they were going to do. And not only that, but the biggest thing with Florida, and I said this last year with the Rangers, is that you need to, in order to beat Florida, you need to be able to move the puck quickly and effectively out of your own zone. Your first pass has to be your best pass. Your players all have to be breaking out as a unit. Edmonton did that. And a lot of the times where Florida, you thought they were gonna really start to establish their forecheck and get that guy in, and they kept taking away the boards. Edmonton was making those quick passes to the middle off the boards on either touch passes or just a regular pass. And they were getting out of the zone. And that was the big thing. Because Edmonton, when they established their speed, I don't think there's any team that can match them in terms of team speed. I just don't. And yeah, McDavid's obviously a burner. Draisaitl is a guy that's deceptively fast. Nugent Hopkins is a very good skater. Brown's a very good skater. Hyman, when he's in, is a decent skater. I mean, they've got guys that can wheel, but they've also got some guys that are on the slower side, like Corey Perry and so on. And you know who I really thought was underrated last night, and he was just a thorn in their side, and I just don't think that they had this same element last year, and they needed a little more of it. Victor Arvidsson. Victor Arvidsson was great for them last night. And I really do think that, 51 hits for each team last night. And I was told that Edmonton can't match Florida's physicality. I think they did, and then some. So for me, if the Edmonton Oilers can continue to play this game and you continue to get the Stuart Skinner of the last 24 shots against, and I'm not saying he has to be a shutout or he has to be dominant or he has to channel Dominic Hasek in 1997, 98 or something like that, or Patrick Waugh in 93. Just be reliable. Don't let up soft goals. Just make the saves that you need to make when you need to make them. Yeah, and I agree. Bob should have started to stop the Arvidsson goal.
Yep.
You know what? It happens. And I'll tell you right now, I've said this in the past, but Victor Arvidsson is the last of the Mohicans when it comes to taking slap shots. Like, that guy has not met a slap shot he did not want to take. He just loves it. And I think that's probably kind of why he caught Bob off guard, because you're not expecting that shot from there, and he's going to take it. So for me, Edmonton's depth came through, and then from the third period on was just the fucking Connor McDavid show. Sorry, I shouldn't have dropped the F-bomb that early, but it just it was Connor McDavid just proved, if he wasn't already the best player in the world, like hands down, this guy is probably the third greatest playoff performer ever behind Gretzky and Lemieux. And yes, I'm going to put him ahead of Bobby Orr. I think he is the third greatest playoff performer of all time. There is no challenge this guy cannot meet when the lights are the brightest. So,
well, let's see about him winning his first Stanley Cup before then. But, damn it. I was just about to go to you, Anthony.
Thank you,
too.
David.
But let me just say this: 51 hits each side, 102 hits. I'm pretty sure the viewers were enjoying that one. What do you think, Anthony?
I thought it was a great game. I mean, Filk said a lot, so I don't know how much I could particularly add, but I think one thing I think we're in for a long series. I think it's going to be a long, close, hard-fought series. Ultimately, I think it might come down to who has, home ice last. And this year it's Edmonton. Last year Game 7 was in Florida. This year, if it goes that far, it'll be in Edmonton, and the Oilers have the advantage. I think that's what it's destined to go. I think the Panthers are just too good of a team for this to be like a short series, or they're going to lay down. It's not going to happen. That's one resilient, really talented team. And they got players that could give it right back with Brad Marchand and Sam Bennett and Lester Roinen. Evan Rodriguez plays on the edge, so the Panthers have a lot of depth themselves. Obviously, Bennett had a hell of a game last night. I thought Alexander Barkov did a good job. He's tasked with trying to shut down McDavid, so that's obviously really hard. But he's a guy that just always does the little things right. I thought he was good for Florida. Bobrovsky, aside from that Arvidsson goal, I actually thought he was really good. And then also too, if you rewatch that goal, Paul Zolkin was right in front of him, kind of screened him.
Yeah,
so I think he lost track of the shot, and that's why I kind of hit the bottom of his glove and then went through his arm. But I think that played into it. But I thought Skinner was fantastic later in the game. It was just a really fun hockey game to watch. Obviously the Oilers, it's always Draisaitl seemingly that's scoring the big goal. And Panthers are going to have to pay a lot of attention to him because folks on McDavid so much. Draisaitl, for my money, is second best player in the world, so he could really burn you too, and that's what he did. So I think it's gonna be a long series. It was a great game 1, and I'm certainly looking forward to game 2 in a couple of days.
Hands down, guys, this was a great game. This was a great game 1. I'll get in the historical perspective on this in a couple minutes, but first, what the Florida Panthers can do is they could weather the storm. They could sit there, they could take the jabs, they could give up the first goal, and you're going to look at them and go, all right, well, maybe this is not going to be their night. Next thing you know, they pop in 2 goals like that, and because they're driving the net, they're making it uncomfortable for the goaltenders. The first one, Sam Bennett, you could argue that's goalie interference when he got knocked into him or just even backed into him.
No, that wasn't goalie interference.
No, you know what? I thought at first, too, that it was goalie interference. But I don't know if it was intentional or unintentional, but him tripping over Kulak is why they gave it the goal.
Yeah. Right. And then, never mind that. How about the third goal? Nate Schmidt. Well, first off, Nate Schmidt, 2 primary assists in the game because he had the primary assist on the Marchand goal on the power play and completely just faked everybody out. Brad Marchand gets it.
Great slap pass.
Great play. Then Schmidt ends up leading a 2-on-1 rush with Sam Bennett, and you saw that in the highlight package. Sam Bennett just snipes it. So you're going, oh man, Stuart Skinner, 3 goals and 8 shots. He saved the game the remainder of the second period, I'd say. Skinner. And then, Filk, you're right. You look at the shot totals in the third period, 14-2. Edmonton just turned it on. I don't think it was Florida trying to play back on them, but then they go to overtime. Florida dominates the first half, if not, you could argue maybe the entire overtime.
I don't know if I would say that. Early on, they had the better of the chances, definitely.
But then Edmonton had the 3 best chances when Kapanen.
All right, so that I would say like the first 5 minutes of overtime of Florida, but once Edmonton survived that flurry, that was it.
That is true. Okay.
There was a stat I heard that I think from the start of the third period on, and when they listed this in overtime, they said the shot attempts were 20-5 in favor of Edmonton, which is insane.
Yeah. And then you have the Kapanen play where he breaks in, splits past, I believe it was Forsling. Yeah. And then Bob comes up big. And then there was the Bouchard. The Bouchard one. Bouchard really didn't have enough time to make another move. And then the Trent Frederick save that he also made before that power play was taken. And, Nosek, it sucks for him. That's the loneliest feeling in the world. I kind of would have gone off the boards.
Loneliest number.
Yeah. I mean, it's the worst because you don't want to give this power play chances. And credit to them I think they had to kill a power play late in the third period too. And the Panthers, they're going to be right there. They have lost back-to-back games only once in this playoff. So I expect the Panthers to either win game 2 or bring it back to Edmonton with the series tied at 2. But going into historical perspective on this, guys, this was a fantastic game 1. This is right up there with the one that comes off the top of my head was Edmonton at Boston in 1990, triple overtime with the power failure. Peter Klima, dude, wasn't barely used. And I know Ranger fans don't want to hear this, but Vancouver in game 1 versus the Rangers in 94.
Okay, all right. You love to give me PTSD.
Well,
if it's not bringing up Hugh Jessamine or Dylan McElrath, you gotta bring up Greg Adams in game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Yes,
that was Brian Leach hitting the crossbar.
Yeah, so, Brian Leach to the crossbar, and then seconds later it was friggin' Greg Adams.
It's stuff that happens, Filk. It happened. The Rangers won the series. You shouldn't have that much PTSD from it. I mean, I remember listening to it on radio and just hearing that.
All I can tell you is that every time Pablo Bure hit the ice in that series, my heart went into my friggin' stomach.
And we're gonna be talking about like bigger moments as it goes on in the playoffs, but this was a fantastic game 1. Anthony, what are you looking for in game 2?
I'm looking for Sam Reinhart to make an impact in game 2. I think that, not that he was bad, but I think Sam Reinhart could be much more noticeable. He's their best pure goal scorer. Naturally, he's going to get a lot of attention, but I think that he's going to come back and have a big game too. I think Sam Bennett is just always going to be Sam Bennett. I mean, he's just adding money to his paycheck this July. He's going to get paid. I can actually already see the tweet now from Elliot Friedman. Maple Leafs, Sam Bennett come to an agreement, 7 years, X amount of dollars.
$10 million a year.
Nah, he's not going to get $10 million.
I don't know. They might get desperate.
No, he's not going to 10.
No, I don't think anybody's going full say their whole league here.
But he's going to get paid a lot of money, and he's earning it. And I expect him to be a big factor in game 2 as well. For the Oilers, it's these players that stepped up, that needed to step up, like Victor Arvidsson, is not just a one-off. They gotta keep doing what they did in game 1 if they want to have success against this Panthers team.
Going further into what you said, Anthony, it's amazing because they got guys that sit like Jeff Skinner, and then they insert them and they just score. This is a well-rounded team, and again, they're all ready to step up, every single player, and who would have thought that? But that's what you need from these are the 2 best teams playing right now. Phil, what are you expecting out of game 2?
Well, if you're going to ask me who I think needs to step up, I'm going to say for Florida, it's got to be Matthew Tkachuk. I expected more out of him in game 1. He was kind of, I don't want to say he was milk carton status, but you really didn't hear a whole lot from him. So, I think that I think that for Edmonton, I think Evander Kane's going to step up. I think that's going to be the guy that needs to step up and just give them a goal. I think if you could get a goal and some hits and maybe even a fight or something like that, or just some scrums, some energy in those scrums. And I tell you right now, if anybody knows what Evander Kane can do in those scrums when it comes down to pugilistics, that's Matt Cook. Because Evander Kane one-shotted him like he was in an anime and knocked him out cold. But I will say that what I expect in game 2 is more of I think it's going to be more of a bloodbath. I think it's going to be getting I think you know what? You might be right about this, Joey. Tkachuk might I think the injury might be I think that might be really kind of dragging him down a little bit. But I do think that he's going to come out. I think he's going to come out with a renewed sense of vigor in game 2. And I think no matter what that injury is doing to him, I think you're going to see a better version of Matt Tkachuk in game 2. But yeah, Evander Kane, you can say what you want about him, but I think this is where, like, if anyone can come in and step up and start delivering some offense and some physical play, I think Evander Kane can come in and really kind of help turn the tide in Edmonton's favor, or keep it rather in their favor.
All right, guys. And let's cover one more story in the A block that revolves around a coach returning back to Madison Square Garden, but as David Quinn will return as an assistant head coach. Hold on a minute. We have Ranger fans' reactions right now.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
I think that's fairly accurate on that one. Wouldn't you think, Filk?
Yeah, Bri. Yep, this is pretty accurate. Oh, yeah, this Ebola. I'm not even gonna post Joey's because he's an Islander fan, so I'm not even gonna. Your comment is not getting highlighted, sir. Yeah, John Daly.
Yeah.
Well,
So
man, I don't understand. Scott stabbed. So I just saw one of the greatest reels I've ever seen last night. And I was watching the game with some friends at my friend's place, and I was literally crying. I was crying because I was laughing so hard. And it's when My Own Prison is playing, and the chorus comes in, and it says when I sent you this.
yeah, Maria showed me.
And it literally says, when the Creed hits so hard that you blow up the gas station, and this truck literally comes through and destroys the gas station. Yeah, that's literally David Quinn coming in and destroying the Rangers right now. Oh my God. Oh my God. There's no vaccine for this variant of Ebola. Yeah, I sent you that too. Oh my God.
It's truly.
I sent it to Sean as well. Oh my God, dude, I was crying. I could not stop crying. Someone needs to take that and have David Quinn's face on that truck, and then the Rangers logo on that gas station.
I think I can actually have that done by this afternoon because
oh my God.
I know that they're buddies. Do you have to be this much buddies? Like they couldn't have just been
thing. My buddy Chad texted me and he goes, "Yeah, actually, it was Ross that I spoke with, and he said that's Drury's thing. He loves his Boston guys
and BU guys, but still, you have to go with the guy that was the head coach less than 5 years ago. Like that's,
you fired this guy as one of your first moves as general manager. Oh my God. Oh man, if Quinn's gonna run the defense, oh my God, no. We've seen this movie before. What are we doing right now? What are we doing?
I'm just loving Anthony's reactions. He's just smiling there down in that lower box. Because Anthony, this would be almost like bringing back Lane Lambert to be the assistant coach right now.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a backwards move. I don't understand it. I guess in a sense Mike Sullivan wanted it, and they're kind of just appeasing their new coach. But yeah, I don't understand this at all. I think this is just a really bad decision. But I guess at the end of the day, the fans just have to live with it and hope that maybe in a lesser role as an assistant, Quinn can get the job done. But just the stigma of bringing back a guy you fired, it just doesn't make any sense to me at all. I don't get it.
Guys, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna go commit seppuku. Thanks. Anybody doesn't know what that is? It's Japanese ritual suicide where you fucking take like a knife or a fucking sword and you just like gut your insides and then die.
Oh, that's Harakiri.
The Harakiri, yeah. Basically same thing, yeah.
This is one of those things that he's on the hoop for a reason, Anthony, and it's just I don't get it. I don't get it. He's made a lot of mistakes, and I just I don't see the David Quinn teams, especially in the NHL, except for his first season. And look, I got lured in by the team was starting to play well towards the end, and then Carolina exposed them. They're not that good. Why are you bringing this guy back in? And look, what do I know? As I didn't go to BU or whatever. Oh boy. But you know what? That's really all the constructive stuff we could say about him, because what? Yeah. Actually, well, we'll go with this one. Quinn coach teams with high danger chances per 60. Pittsburgh 24th, San Jose 32nd, San Jose 18th. The Rangers were the 31st. Oh boy.
Quinn's defense is probably going to be as organized as the WWE Royal Rumble.
Quinn's defense is going to make Igor Shesterkin's numbers go higher since they've been declining for the last few years.
So what I don't understand is, okay, Sullivan wants to bring in a guy that he's friendly and familiar with. Well, the Rangers had a guy that was under Quinn that when they brought him in for the 1 year that they brought him in, the defense actually improved in 2021. Jock Martin. Why did we we brought in a tank commander when we don't. So maybe they'll send the first to Pittsburgh this year, let them have it, and then they'll tank, and then we could go get Gavin McKenna. Cool. If that's the strategy here, all on board.
I mean,
we need the gift of the tank sliding around on ice now.
I mean, hopefully he's not coaching the D. Hopefully he's coaching the forwards, because I mean, Sullivan's the one that coached the D underneath Tortorella. So it's just, I really wish I had something more uplifting to say for this, guys.
Well, yes, that's why I was saying it, John Vellucci. I really don't understand how you have a guy that's been proven everywhere he's gone. His defenses have been good. Ottawa, Florida, as an assistant in Pittsburgh. Oh my God.
Oh, I didn't even see the oh. Ouch. Versus Susie is going to look even worse next year.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, well, like I said, enjoy the show, boys. It's going to be...
This comment section is probably the best comment section I've seen since that one time that Marc had that slew of mess-ups and he couldn't stop.
Yeah.
So the chat just kept going and going and going.
I'm convinced he had a stroke that time.
All right. Guys, let's get right into NHL Bar Talk.
Shot. This is the easiest I've ever to answer.
I'm going to say beer. I can't even begin to describe.
I'm actually going to go crazy. I'm going to buy everybody around on this one. And welcome back, everybody, to Big Apple Hockey's NHL Bar Talk, where we're gauging our confidence on NHL topics based on our choice of drink. So confident you're buying around. So I'll have a beer. Oh, God, I need a shot. Play along down in the comments below, guys, and feel free to suggest a topic. Maybe we'll choose one of yours. You know what? We're hoping not so many layups today, because let's go with some of the words from Elliot Friedman. Nice try, Anthony.
What did I do?
There was, according to Marc Friedman on there. I know that.
Oh, Anthony tried to prank Marc again.
So, according to Elliot Friedman, Drury is ready for offers.
You spelled Friedman wrong. That really wasn't me, though. That was you.
Well, I had to do that all over again. So we're gonna get that off, right back on. So according to Elliot Friedman,
the next line you spelled Friedman right. It's just that one you mixed up the I and the E.
Maybe it was just a typo in there. Okay, so Drury's ready for offers. We know the guys that he's talking about because there's plenty of meat on the bone to hand out to everybody. So Filk, Artemi Panarin, is the most interesting player of the Rangers offseason.
Beer, because I don't know if he's going to get dealt. Like, they would really have one. I don't know if he waives. Two, what does he bring you back at 34 and 1 year left on his deal?
89 points last year.
I mean, yes, 89 points last year in a down year, and yes, he could end up giving you a decent return, I guess. But again, so now what you really got to establish is what team is either that one piece away or wants to add a major piece that can help bring them into that like cup, maybe not cup threat, but true cup contender tier. And what team has the cap space to be able to do that? Because the Rangers are not going to want to retain on that deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and why would you for a guy that's still well over a point per game player? I mean, sure, it's 1 year, so it's not a lot. I mean, yeah, if you retain $2 million on him, he probably would get a massive haul, I guess.
Mm.
But I just then you have to replace him. And who and what are you replacing him with? What is available this offseason? Yeah, the Lightning guy, I could see them. And then actually Brisebois just absolutely bending Drury over a barrel and taking him to the woodshed. And the Rangers get nothing out of it. They get a Brett Howden and Libor Hayek type package in return. Yeah, we got their best prospects. Meanwhile, we got their like C-level prospects. So, I don't know about this. I think it's something to watch, but I really wonder if he goes anywhere.
Anthony, what do you think? Is he the most interesting Ranger to watch in this offseason?
No. I'm going to go Beer. For everything really Filk said, I mean, there's no guarantee he'll even agree to waive. If he does, he could just say, okay, I'm just waiving for, LA or Tampa. And, who LA actually can, because I think we talked about this, but Tampa wouldn't be able to afford him. They would have to move out a lot of salary. And then he could also play games. He could be like, oh, I'm going to waive for, I'm going to waive for the San Jose Sharks, a team that he knows will not be trading for him, So he holds all the cards. It is a lot of salary. He's got 1 more year left. I think he's probably just content in playing out this year and then seeing what happens after that. So, if he had no trade protection, I would absolutely say yes, it's around, but I'm really not convinced that he goes anywhere. So for me, this has to be a Beer.
Yeah, guys, I'm going to make this a Beer too, and I'm going to make it a Beer for a different reason. I am convinced that Chris Drury is going to try his best to move him this offseason because there almost really isn't much of a reason to keep him. I don't think he's re-signing. I don't think that the Rangers necessarily have him as a playoff type player that's going to help them win. He's a regular season guy that puts up a lot of points and will disappear in the second round. They got another guy named Mika Zibanejad, who's the same thing. You could put Mika Zibanejad in that category of the guy who could be the most interesting one. Are they going to move on from him? Do they really think wing is the best place for him? Or the last one is K'Andre Miller, because we know Chris Kreider is more than likely gone.
Yeah.
Pretty much a 95% certainty, unless somehow, I guess now David Quinn and Mike Sullivan are here to tell him to stay. David Quinn, who basically robbed him of a 30-goal season the first time around. But this is K'Andre Miller is a guy that the Rangers got to figure out what he is. Is he? And number one, is he a New York Ranger? He's an RFA at the end in this season's end. So they have their questions. They got to figure it out, and it's just a long ways away. I can't even tell you guys which one of the main guys, the core guys, are gone.
I think Zibanejad's the guy that Drury should make operation number one to move. I just think his body language, his play, I think he's got many years left. If they can get out of that contract now, I think they should do it.
That's where I kind of agree with you on that one, Anthony. What about you, Filk?
And I'll say this again. I think once Chris Kreider is moved, I think he'll be more amenable to waiving. I do. I don't like the attitude either.
Mhm.
I don't think that he has, like, where do you come from getting the nerve to say things like the front office should be communicating these things to you? You're not an executive. You're not
No.
management.
No.
And lastly, you didn't show up against Florida. You were Casper the Friendly Ghost against Florida.
You didn't show up against Florida after game 3. You didn't show up against Tampa.
Yeah, in 2022, yeah. I mean, the first two games of that series, he's there, and then he disappears after the first 2 games. It's just, you know what? At some point, yeah, and you know what? I don't think it's just him being soft as a locker room issue. I think there's a sense of entitlement there, and I don't get where it comes from. What have you done to earn that? He
scored 5 goals in a game, Filk. Don't you know that?
You're not Messier.
Yeah.
This is why I think it's probably not happening. But like you have no reason to. Kreider is going.
Kreider's going.
I would be shocked. I'd be shocked if Kreider.
You got to squeeze as much juice out of that stone as you can right now, because
Kreider is gone.
He plays a power position, and he's getting older. You can't risk having him stay.
He checked out. He checked. Yeah. Zibanejad did too, and you can talk about how Zibanejad rebounded with JT Miller and how he might not be a center anymore. But you know what? It's too much. Like, you cannot end up, having this guy sit there with this mopey attitude and his entitlement. If you can move him, I would move him now. I would move him and take the loss. Like, if they're going to be able, if they can move him and Kreider, and they could, go into a rebuild and give Pittsburgh that pick next year. And I don't think they're going to do this because they just traded for JT Miller. But if they could have, that would have been the move.
Yeah.
And the Eagles Shesterkin deal is another story too.
Well, when you look at these guys and you make a big investment in them and you sign them for first line center money the way you did with Mika Zibanejad, you have to take a look at every single factor, their talent, their character, everything, especially if you're going to make them focal points of their franchise, which is what the New York Islanders are doing right now, is they're trying to figure out who is going to be the number 1 draft pick, or are they going to move? As Elliot Friedman also said, the top 3 picks in the draft could shuffle around a little bit. And right back to you, Mr. LaRocco. The Islanders should trade down in the 2025 NHL draft.
So there's been a lot of discourse around this amongst Islander fans, and I will say it's a beer, and it depends. Listen, we've talked about it on our show. I've talked about it on Twitter and Islander boards. I personally, I'm a fan of the play of collecting more assets and drafting James Higgins, because I believe he is going to be phenomenal. But here's the thing: is it worth it? Islander fans want Sam Dickinson from San Jose. That's not happening. They're not trading.
No.
They're not trading Sam Dickinson to move up 1 spot. On the flip side, if all they can get from San Jose is Dallas's first, which is, I don't know, pick 26, 27, that at the same time, that's not enough. Like, Dickinson's a pipe dream. I feel like if the Sharks really want Schaefer that bad, to get a late first isn't enough. So it really depends on what they're getting. Like Chicago, for instance. Again, Chicago is not going to give up a premium asset to move up. But, if could they get a guy like Sam Bennett, who just left from Minnesota, and join them? I feel like that's the type of asset the Islanders would have to get to give up that first overall pick and the right to draft Matthew Schaefer. They're going to have to pay. Those teams are going to have to pay up. Because if you're just getting a late pick, why are you passing up on what they say is, the consensus pick and a potential future elite defenseman in Matthew Schaefer? So for me, the answer is beer here. If they can get San Jose or Chicago to pay up, then yeah, I'm all for trading down and you draft James Higgins. But if you're not going to get much, then I say no, just draft Schaefer first overall. So it's a beer for me, depending on what these teams are offering.
Filk, should the Islanders trade down?
They want Higgins, yes. Short answer. If they, I mean, I personally, I would just take Schaefer and call it a day. I think there is a chance, a greater chance that Schaefer becomes the number one franchise type defenseman than there is Higgins becomes the top end number one center. I think he'll still be a 1C in this league.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's something closer to Matt Barzal than he is to Jack Hughes. Like that's the thing for me. I think he's smarter up here than Matt Barzal. I've said it for years. Matt Barzal, $1 million talent, 10-cent head. Just holds on to the puck for too long. He passes up so many plays, doesn't shoot enough. I think this is what holds him back. I don't think the same goes for James Higgins. I think Barzal's probably a better skater. I'm not sure about puck handling. I think James Higgins might have better hands and better shot. But if you want Higgins, trade down. But for me, I think you have to take the BPA and you have to take Schaefer. Like you could build your defense around him and Dobson for the next 10 plus years. And you could figure out the center position elsewhere. Like you really want a center for me, you got to go Misa. I don't think you can go Higgins here. I think Misa is the guy. I think Misa is the type of guy that you build a winner around. Like that's the type of guy that's going to come in and he's going to be kind of like a Bergeron type center at the next level where he does everything at a very good to great level. Like he's going to be a complete player at that next level. So for me, take Schaefer and then worry about the rest afterwards.
And that sounds like it's a shot, right, Filk?
I'm not going to say shot. I'm going to say beer.
Okay.
I don't. It's a tough decision to make. I just have a feeling that this organization, their front office, is like strung up on the idea of having the hometown kid come in and like be kind of like a savior. I just think that's a lot to ask, especially when you're trading down from one. But if there's any year to do it where there's no like real consensus one and the group at the top of the pack is not as great as in years past, it's this year. I think this could be the first times we've seen since 2003 where Florida traded down with Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh took Marc-Andre Fleury at 1. I've
been vocal about this from the very start. Trade down the entire way. I'm going to go with the beers. Sorry, the round on this one. The Islanders could easily take this pick and get at least either one or two picks after this. Maybe the first rounder from Dallas, from San Jose. Maybe they can then trade down again and see if they could parlay that with Chicago. There's different avenues that they could go on, especially if you think Higgins dropped out of the top 5. You can go further down to go get him. And if you're doing that, then keep just stockpiling draft picks and stockpiling players, because after all, Matthew Darche was part of the Lightning administration. And when they were drafting under Steve Yzerman, that's what Yzerman did. Constantly traded down to make sure that he got more shots and more kicks at the can, if you will. And that's one reason why Braden Point, and I believe you could credit Kucherov for that as well. That's the reason why I think I would go with you need to move this pick down, revamp your system, and the Islanders then look very exciting for the future. One guy that used to be with the New York Rangers is now heading to Pittsburgh, since they've got basically the Pittsburgh coaching staff going over the Rangers. Dan Muse is going. Oh, Stan Musial, you got me, Anthony. Yeah, bastard.
I'm surprised he didn't do Dan Rather reports before with Elliot Friedman.
No, he could have. He could have.
Yeah, you got it. You
got me on a prank on that one. But anyway, so they name Dan Muse the head coach. This signals Pittsburgh should go into a full rebuild. And Filk, in your reply, and Anthony, in your replies, guys, does that mean Sidney Crosby could potentially be moved elsewhere?
Ooh, I'm gonna say hoop for Penguins going into a rebuild. For Crosby leaving, I don't know about that. I mean, what does he have left to prove? What does he have left to prove? Like, he's won 3 cups. He's won 2 Conn Smythes. He's already a top 10 player of all time. Might even go down as a top 5. The only way I see him moving anywhere is if somehow him and his boy Nate end up talking in the offseason and he ends up getting moved to Colorado. I can't see him going in. It's either Colorado, Pittsburgh, or retirement. I can't see anything else. So, yeah, hoop. I don't think Crosby's being moved, but if there's one place he'd move to, it's Colorado.
All right. Anthony, should Pittsburgh go into a rebuild, and does that mean Crosby is staying?
I mean, I think they should go into a rebuild. It's smart. I think Malkin already said this is going to be his last year. Crosby's getting older, still a high-level player, but they should do it. But I don't know if they'll officially do it while Crosby's still there. I think they at least want to try to give him every opportunity to play in the playoffs again. Yes, they should. They should go into a rebuild, but I don't think they will. And as far as Crosby leaving, nah. I mean, he's such a high character guy. I really think he wants to play his whole career in Pittsburgh as much as he would maybe like it to play with McKinnon in Colorado. I don't see it happening. I don't see Crosby going anywhere.
The man that he roomed with, or because he stayed, I believe, with Mario Lemieux at the beginning of his career, only played in one city. I think Sidney Crosby values that a lot, and I think he also would want to be part of the solution. Yes, the Penguins should go into a rebuild, but Sidney Crosby's going nowhere. And Sidney Crosby's earned that right to not go anywhere. He is, in my mind, he's the 6th best player of all time. Because I still think the top 4 is set in stone. Sorry, Connor McDavid. I'm not putting you in the top 5.
Not right now. No.
I can't put him ahead of Messier either. As of right now, keep that career going, especially at the rate you're going with on your career. Now, again, Sidney Crosby in his career, he has lived up to every expectation. And imagine if he didn't lose pretty much a full season because of what we'll use the term concussion problems. I think they said it was whiplash instead, and they found a way to treat him. But Sidney Crosby has been everything to the NHL that you could have imagined he could be, and he's earned the right, if he wants to stay in Pittsburgh, to stay in Pittsburgh. Moving on, guys. Let's go to another guy. If I recall correctly, guys, that when the Bruins played at Fenway Park in their first Winter Classic, the overtime winner in that game was Marco Sturm, if I'm correct, right?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, Bruins name Marco Sturm, not Nico, his son, the head coach, because somebody changed that one around.
That up on you.
Anyway, he had a 119, 80, and 11 record in the AHL. But Marco Sturm will lead the Bruins back to the playoffs. And Anthony, I'll start with you on this one.
Next season?
Next season.
No, it's a shot.
Okay.
The Bruins. I don't see it happening. I don't think they have enough young top players coming up through the lineup. I think when they traded Marchand, that was certainly the signal of an Coyle, certainly a signal of a rebuild. I don't think they're going to strip it down and trade everything. I don't see Pastrnak going anywhere this summer, but I just don't. I don't see it. I mean, too many teams took the next step. Ottawa got into the playoffs. Detroit they failed again, but they're you would think on the cusp too. So I don't see it unless Swayman, you know what, maybe if Swayman goes back to the Jeremy Swayman that he was, yeah, maybe that's possible, but I wouldn't bet on it. So right now I would say this is a shot for me.
Filk, where are you leaning?
I was gonna say beer just because I don't know what moves they're gonna make this offseason, but I just realized I don't trust Don Sweeney. I don't. I'm gonna go shot.
Okay.
I think I'm with Anthony on this. I think Anthony was pretty convincing there. I don't like the roster. I mean, their defense corps isn't brutal by any means, but they lost Brandon Carlo. And that's like 20 minutes being taken up by a reliable two-way guy right there. And then really after McAvoy and Lindholm, what do they have back there? I mean, the only, I mean, Mason Lowry is good, but is he really a number 3? Like, I mean, I get that he is there. But what else do they have? Who do they add? Do they? I mean, they're not going to add Dmitry Orlov again. That experiment didn't work out too well for them. He put up a bunch of points, but he didn't play great defensively for them. Did they get Gavrikov? Did they go and add a center this offseason? I mean, it really, their offense is not good. It's Pasternak, and then like what else? I mean, Pavel Zacha.
Oof.
Like who are their supporting players? Jake DeBrusk's gone. I mean, I get Morgan Geekie is somebody that you're. I mean, he had a 33 goal season, but does he replicate that? I don't know if he does. I mean, yeah, John Beecher's not really Joey. Sorry, that's not. I mean, I guess you're being sarcastic there, but I mean, I don't understand where the offense is coming from. Their center depth is brutal. It's probably one of the worst center depth charts in the league, if you ask me. I mean, Fraser Minton. They traded him in the Carlo deal, Toronto. But I don't see where, unless they make major moves this offseason, I do not see how this team makes playoffs. I don't. And yes, having Swayman for a full camp will help, but you dealt a lot of guys at the deadline. You dealt a lot of guys away at the deadline, a lot of your depth. And I just, unless Elias Lindholm ends up living up to that contract or coming somewhere close to it, I don't see where the offense is coming from outside of Pasternak.
Yeah, I'm going to go shot on this one too, guys. And it's not exactly a layup, but it's definitely there. You got a first-year head coach that's going to have to navigate the waters of the NHL for the first time. Even though, yes, he's been an NHL pro for just almost 2 decades. But on top of it, you got to hope that Swayman comes back in training camp, that whole fiasco isn't repeated, which it isn't, obviously, because he's already signed. But then you got the decrease in talent. Who's the next captain going to be? I mean, there's so many questions that have to do with the Bruins. And then on top of it, last year, they basically said to the Buffalo Sabres, hey, hold our beer. We're going to take, we'll hold your beer. We're going to take last place. And they finished behind Buffalo. And Buffalo was historically bad until they were nearly mathematically eliminated. Then watch out for Buffalo. So, it just, with the Bruins, it might be a while. And then you brought up this, Filk. I'm with you. I think nobody should ever trust Don Sweeney as GM. It's so many questionable moves.
Zacha, I mean, Lindholm, Middlestat, and Zacha. And I mean, Middlestat and Zacha might both be better as wingers.
And that's a good question. But one guy that was, you could play him on the wing, you could play him at the center. He was good in both, especially to the last 4 years. But Colorado re-signing Brock Nelson, who they acquired from the New York Islanders, to a 3-year, $7.5 million deal. Anthony, I'll start with you on this one. Brock Nelson would have gotten a better offer on the open market?
Nah, I don't. I'm gonna say shot. I mean, I think what he got is his market value. I mean, he's 34. Like, no one was giving him a 5-year deal. Could he have gotten a 4-year deal from a team like Minnesota that like really wanted him? I mean, maybe, but I'm not 100% on that. So yeah, I think he realized, because after he signed this deal, a lot of Islander writers like Gross, Rosner said that they believe that this is a similar deal to what the Islanders offered him, almost identical. So I think he realized that this was probably the best deal that he was going to get at this point. So he's on a really good team, and him and his wife liked it there, so he said yes. So, but no, I don't think there are better. I don't think there are better offers out there. I don't. So I'm going to stick with shot there.
Filk?
Shot layup.
Oh, all right.
I'm getting a hoop on this one. I really don't see a 33 going on 34-year-old getting more than 3 years on the open market, especially after having a down year. He wasn't great at the Four Nations. He wasn't great in the playoffs. He wasn't great with Colorado down the stretch. I mean, I'm surprised that they gave him this deal, to be honest with you. I thought he was going to get somewhere more in the range of 3 years, $18 million. I'm surprised they went to 7.5 for him. I think it's a little of an overpay considering that he's a decline candidate. And I definitely didn't see any team giving more than 3 years on the open market. So, yeah, I mean, go figure. He takes this deal and he runs. He wasn't going to get this on the open market. No way in hell.
And especially when you consider that you go to the open market, maybe Colorado goes to a plan B just when he goes there, and that spot might not be available for him where he's playing behind Nate McKinnon, and there's a little bit of talent in Colorado when you look at that roster. Although, guys, but having said that, I am going to go round on this one because I believe fully in the one dumb owner, one dumb GM. All it takes is one GM to go, oh, no, I need to do something right now. Like Steve Yzerman is paying JT Compher $5.1 million. That's one of those guys.
Oranges.
Yeah, I mean,
oranges.
That's a big deal. He gave 2 years to Vladimir Tarasenko at 4.75. Andrew Kopp really isn't making his money either. He's making 5.6, and I mean, there's a lot of bad contracts to go around the league.
Players, they're paid accordingly.
I get that too, but all it takes is just one guy to get into a bidding war, and then the next thing you know, it goes up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Joey's right here. Nelson was probably the best free agent center available, and it's an extremely weak class. Mm-hmm. So Colorado was like, you know what? We're just going to re-sign the guy that we know we have, and that's it. And they gave him something that he couldn't refuse. You really think that if Brock Nelson's camp thought that they could get more, they would have signed almost a month before free agency begins? No.
But also Brock Nelson's camp, he's always been a guy that's taken pay cuts and been loyal, right, Anthony?
Oh, I mean, yeah, he has, but he also recognized this was his last chance to cash in. So I agree with Filk. If his agent would have had a good feeling that he would have gotten a lot more money in the open market, he wouldn't have had his client sign this at this point in time.
Yeah, yeah, that's another good point for Joey. Better the devil you know than the devil you don't know. I mean, really, and he's a guy that's familiar with the team. I mean, he's familiar with their system, their coach. He brings qualities that they want, even though I don't think that he's gonna be the difference maker that $7.5 million would have him be for that deal. It's still better than the other options out there. And you know what? Let's just say that for this doesn't work for them. Like this deal somehow does not work for them at all. And they want to buy him out. And if they were to buy him out, 7.5, if they were to buy him out like right now, like if you look at cap wages, they save $5 million in 26-27, $5 million in 27-28, and then dead cap of 2.5 the next 2 years. It's not even a bad buyout. So they did the deal right.
All right.
Chris McFarland, good good deal for them because he didn't give them any signing bonuses that would make that buyout proof.
Well, let's stay in Colorado, guys, because this is news that kind of came out right before the show, and that why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?
What did you do now, Anthony?
All right. So anyway, let me just get this. So Nick Kypreos was saying that only start again. So Nick Kypreos,
did he change Kypreos to Dan Rather?
No, he changed Kypreos to Natchez and Natchez to Kypreos. So Nick Kypreos saying Marty Natchez wasn't overly thrilled in Colorado and wants to explore extra or other options. Marty Natchez should stay in Colorado, Filk.
Beer? Is he really that unhappy there? Like this guy seems like he's fucking miserable. Like why? Like he's in Carolina and he's not happy there. His father, I want an increased role. I want this and that. Then he goes to Colorado. He gets the increased role. He basically takes over Mikko Rantanen's spot. He's playing with Nathan McKinnon, playing with a guy who's either number 2 or number 3 best player in the world, depending on your day of the week and if it's the playoffs or not. Nathan McKinnon in the playoffs is another animal too. But, I mean, like, I don't understand what this guy's issue is. You talk about Pierre-Luc Dubois being a friggin' malcontent. This guy's a malcontent, clearly. Yeah. I mean, what does he want? Does he want the money? Is that what it is? Does he want the increased role? What is it that this guy wants? Because every time I hear about this guy, he's complaining about something. Like, you're young, you're a successful hockey player, you played on 2 pretty damn good teams that go relatively far in the playoffs in Carolina's case and in Colorado. They were, a cup winner only 3 years ago. Mm. Like, what are we doing here? That's the question. What is going on in this guy's head? Like, does this guy have a God complex where he thinks that people should worship the ground that he walks on? Is that, or is he just truly never happy anywhere because he finds something to be unhappy about? Like, I don't know. I just, something's not right with this guy. And you know what? If Colorado gets the slightest inclination that he's like unhappy and that he's gonna be a malcontent, maybe they should take the first step and get rid of him and just get young assets in return for this guy.
Well, that's what's gonna happen, I think, because he's the reverse of not JG Pageau, but John Gabriel, whatever the hell, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, you could just say
Ebola number 1 for me. Nobody wanted to touch this guy for the longest time, and then LA moved him to a PLD. Thank you, Pierre-Luc Dubois. And then LA moved him to Washington. Now he seems to have found a home finally. So his years of wandering the desert is now over. He's in Washington. He's there permanently. I don't know what's going on with Marty Natchez. Like, you ask for the increased role, then you go to Colorado in this trade. You're playing with Nate McKinnon. He's got 28 points in 30 games, and this guy still has a problem. Still can't sign anywhere. Does he think he's like a superstar in the making? And this is kind of showing like a huge ego trip. And I don't know if I'm a GM, I question whether or not I want to bring this guy in to my organization, to my locker room. I mean, 28 points in 30 games. And you're like, oh, well, I don't know. Maybe I should go elsewhere. Well, you don't want to be here, then we don't want you here. And it's that simple for that. And I was hoping to get Anthony's take on this. Just going to stall for about 1 second, but I don't think I've ever heard it where you get a guy that in the place that he's at, he wants to get moved. First, he wants more responsibility. Then they're going to move him. Then they keep him. Then they then they do move him, and he goes to someplace else, has success, and then complains.
I just want to know what's going on in his head. I really don't know what the issue is. Like, if he just came out and said what the issue is, at least I could relate something, or not, maybe not relate to, but just like, at least I can understand it and just be like, oh, okay, you know what? This is a problem, and he wants this fixed. Like, we understood, like, he wanted a bigger role in Carolina. Okay, fine. He comes and has this amazing start to this season. He's leading the NHL in scoring for what, like the first couple of months of the year or so, and then he falls off a bit. Okay, unsustainable, and that's fine. Like, there are some guys who are like Brian Savage, the NHL's Mr. October, guy who scores a literal fuck ton in October, and disappears the rest of the year. I'm not saying Marty Necas is that. I think he's a far better player than Brian Savage ever was.
Yes.
But the start he had was unreal. We thought he was going to be a 100-point player if you go at that pace, which I questioned, but whatever.
I thought there was a chance he could have ended up leading the Metro in scoring. But again, there's still some good candidates in the Metro.
I'm not.
Not this year.
I'm not a big fan of this. I'm really not. Like, I maybe this is right. Maybe he is looking to make the most money possible, but he's a restricted free agent after the expiration of this deal.
Which, again, part of it, Filk, if he's going to be a free agent, why not play out the string in Colorado?
He's unrestricted at the end of this deal. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but he's going to be unrestricted. So again, if he's just play out the string in Colorado, get as much points as you can. Clearly, you have a success there, and then you could play the game that Colorado plays, and you're ranted in 2.0. Then you're going to see the money.
Here's the issue, though. Like, you have a guy that's 26, and I think he'll be 27 by the time his deal ends. But what team, knowing this and seeing him jump from team to team, is going to want to sign this guy with 1 year left on his deal? And like, if he was a restricted free agent at the end of the deal, I think you'd have a lot more teams looking to sign up to trade for him. But he turns 27 in January, and then he's going to be a free agent. I have a hard time seeing teams line up to trade for this guy right now. But I get it. I mean, you want to get the most value for, you want to get you want to get the highest bag that you can. You want to get your bag, and I get that. But I don't think it's fitting in Florida.
Go ahead, yeah.
I don't see it.
Yeah. And again, let me also reiterate something else on this.
Sam Bennett also plays center. Unless they're having Anton Lundell come in to play number 2 center, and then you're signing a winger to replace Bennett, then maybe. But I don't think Necas fits that style of game that they want to play.
And also, let me just say this: Sam Bennett's got a lot more chutzpah, if you will, than Marty Necas. Marty Necas tends to disappear, especially in the playoffs. So I wouldn't even consider him as that. He's never scored, as between the benches saying right here. Never scored more than 28 goals in a season. So you know what?
I don't think Florida can make that work. He doesn't play that type of game. I think not only that, but I think this guy might have an ego. And Florida has turned into a team where you check your ego at the damn door when you walk in. I don't think Barkov would take kindly to that. I don't think Tkachuk would take kindly to that. I don't think any of the other core guys on the team would really want to have a guy like that coming in thinking that he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And that's the vibe I'm getting. Could I be wrong about him? Sure.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Yeah, like I said, everybody has talked so much positive things about Pierre-Luc Dubois after it's been documented that he was a locker room cancer. Goes to Washington, finds a home. You didn't hear a peep out of him this year except for good things. So maybe it's just he needs to go find a place where he finally can call it home. I just don't know where that is. And I still think your best bet would have been Colorado playing right next to Nate McKinnon. You put up such good numbers that they have to pay you the money, either Colorado or someone else. And that's something else that, because after all, Mikko Rantanen proved that he was worth the money. Let's stick with the Florida Panthers, speaking about them, and the Edmonton Oilers. One more on the Stanley Cup Finals last night. You look at the numbers last night. Stuart Skinner came up big, made a lot of big saves, especially in the second period. Didn't have much to do in the third. Made some good saves in the overtime, and before Florida took over, Bob made some big saves. You could say with those numbers, maybe Bob outplayed him. Maybe Stuart Skinner outplayed him. But Filk, Skinner must continue to be better than Bob for the Oilers to win the series.
Marc, really?
It's a hoop. Okay.
Get the hoop.
It's a hoop. Okay.
Get the damn hoop. guys, I'm going to have to use it right now. By design.
Well, I'm not sure if it's by design. I think Edmonton could somewhat survive with a subpar Stuart Skinner. That's for me.
You know what? No, subpar. All right, let's slam dunk.
All right.
NBA Jam flaming ball into the hoop dunk, doing a 1080 flip, and then breaking the backboard. Oh my God! This isn't just a layup; it's an uncontested layup.
Well, I was trying to come up with a good one for the finals. We're going to have some pick'ems that have to do with the Stanley Cup Finals in a minute.
That's definitely going to help them win. Yes, This is like saying, do the Edmonton Oilers want consistent goaltending going forward for the rest of the series?
You guys are never going to get me on those New Year's resolution ones.
Oh, my God.
I'm always going to keep that for me forever. But you know what, Phil, I am actually going to go – I'm going to go beer on this because I do think if Bob is slightly better, I still put that push towards Edmonton. I think Edmonton can just do this and still win the series.
Keep them coming.
Yeah.
These are great.
I think Edmonton can still win this series. I think they can do it on special teams because you're going to need.
Yes, they can. The special teams are definitely key, and I said that because Edmonton's penalty kill had to be good. That implies that I'm terrible at free throws. Come on. But I mean,
for a minute there, I thought he was talking about the New Zealand thing, haka, the haka dance.
No, he's definitely talking about
haka Filk.
Yeah, but it's yes, penalty killing is important, and I said that I think it was last week or the week before that I think it actually was last week that Edmonton would have to have their penalty killing be effective from game one and just right off the bat be good, because if their penalty killing wasn't good, like it wasn't at the beginning of the Dallas series, then they could fall behind, and you don't want to fall behind against Florida.
Yeah.
So, yes, special teams are key, and Edmonton won the special teams battle last night. Yes, they gave up a power play goal, but their penalty killing was very good otherwise, and they won on the power play in overtime. So
quite literally, the difference maker was on the power play.
That's amazing.
The greatest athlete in any.
Can we get a video of you asking these questions and just me being like, "Get the hoop," and then it's like my face on Bo Jackson running around the Tecmo Bowl field with like every single person as your face just trying to catch me.
It would take a little bit of work in editing. I might be able to do that.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
We can see what I can do in editing.
Every time that you ask an absolute layup, Caitlin Clark getting punched in the face during a game level of certainty. I love that girl. She's great, man. I'm not even a big WNBA supporter, but holy shit, what she's done for that sport is next level stuff right there.
Yeah.
You know what? Yes, they need him to be good. But, I mean, I don't think he can be subpar like you're saying, though. Like subpar.
I said subpar. Let me change that. He could be just a little bit below Bob and still they could still win this series. They don't need him to be. They don't need him to be what he was in the Vegas series. In the Vegas series, he completely shut down everybody. But Edmonton,
I mean, listen, I think they also helped make it a little easier for him in the Vegas series because they were really good. That David Wood comment is hilarious. I'm not even going to highlight that, but that's hilarious.
Yeah. Romanella saying right here, he's subpar normally. You know what? He has been 2 different goalies the entire time. In my video on the Tale of Two Cities,
His comment section is great today, man.
the comment section has been on fire. And
These
look,
guys
this
are
is
fire today.
This is why. By the way, 2 things. One,
This
I
is
have to
why-
do this,
yeah.
and I have to have some thick skin. So
No, everybody has to have thick skin, but this is why we are as interactive as we are, because you guys just continue to give us fuel for this stuff. And this is, man, I need this energy every stream. I really do, because this shit's hilarious. What happened with Anthony?
all right, and so all right, let's move on. Filk, we're gonna go and we'll do some pick'ems for Stanley Cup Finals and even some other news that's in there. Anthony is back with us. So
Did you see the last one, Anthony?
Did I what?
Did you see the last one?
I put this one in there. We don't have to say that he must continue to be better than Bob for the Oilers to win. So I still think Bob could be a little bit better, and then that could be it. So let's move on, guys. Let's do some pick'ems for the Stanley Cup Finals and around the NHL right now. So let's start with
I don't know what this is about. But
I
was amazing.
wow, that's is that about me? But anyway,
Marc.
let's start with this one, Anthony, and let's go right to you. More impactful for the Oilers, Mattias Ekholm returning or Zach Hyman being out?
I think that was about Skinner, by the way. I don't think. Yeah, Joey said it was Skinner.
Yeah, I know. Well,
I don't know. It's a tough one. I'm gonna go. I'll go with Ekholm being back because the Panthers are obviously a really good offensive team. I would say the Oilers aren't the deepest defensively. Bouchard's good, but I would say he's better offensively than defensively. Ekholm, I think, for my money, is their best defensive defenseman. So I think having a healthy Mattias Ekholm in the Stanley Cup Finals is more helpful for sure.
Filk, pick one: Ekholm or Hyman.
Ekholm. Yeah, it's Ekholm for me. They have guys that can do what Hyman does. Like Connor Brown can get those garbage goals for you. Evander Kane can get those garbage goals for you. Hyman's not the greatest skater, but he is a physical presence, and he'll hit people, and he'll go to the dirty areas to score goals, and you definitely need guys like that. But they do have – Corey Perry's another one who he can do some of that stuff. But Ekholm returning helps their defense out big time. And just remember, you upgraded big time from Cody Ceci to Jake Wallman. Like Jake Wallman's been huge for them, and he had a great game last night. So, I definitely think that Ekholm returning, because that's a guy that could play 20-plus minutes a game and give you solid defense and penalty killing.
I go with Ekholm returning too, guys, because I think they could survive without Hyman. I think they thrive with Ekholm being back. He then matches up against the number one line, whatever one that they're going to put out there. And then on top of it, he could put the puck in the net, as we saw last night, game-tying goal. And did you guys see that reaction that McDavid and Ekholm had? It was just a quick little nice pass, nice shot, game's tied, let's go get the winner. It was quite a sight to see. Guys, speaking about Connor McDavid, he had 2 assists last night. He had 11 points in the series last year. Filk, more or less in this playoff series?
Yeah, he went off. Like, they held him in check like the first 2 or 3 games. And then he went off and had, like 8 points in 2 games, which was just absolutely absurd. I'm going to go more because he's already got 2 points. It's crazy to think that he could have more than 11 points, but I think he got his footing going early, which he didn't in last year's series. I'm actually going to pull up the numbers from last year's series right now because I'm pretty sure I think he had maybe 1 point in game one. I could be wrong there, but he was definitely off to a slower start in last year's series. Okay. No, he had only 1 point through the first 2 games against Florida last year. And he was a -1 because he had 1 assist in game 2. And then he had 2 points in game 3, 4 points in games 4 and 5 when they went off. And he had no points in the final 2 games of the series, which they held him in check. But I definitely think it's going to be more now that he's gotten his footing going.
Anthony, more or less?
This is more. He's already got 2. The series isn't going to be a 5-game series, so at the very least, 6 games, 5 more games. Yeah, I think he'll do more.
You know what? I'm gonna go less. The reason why is I just think Florida is gonna have to put the clamps on him at some point, and the clamps. But they're gonna have to figure out exactly how to slow him down, and they did the first 2 periods of this game, and then done in the 3rd period. So, yeah, we'll go with that one. Yes or no, Anthony? Can Leon Draisaitl win the Conn Smythe Trophy?
Can he?
Can he? Can you make a candidacy for him? Yes or no?
All right, whatever. Like
He's one of the best players in
he's
the
an
world.
obvious yes.
Yeah, what?
Will he? Is
Can, but I mean, it's basically McDavid's to lose, is what I'm really asking.
No, I don't know. I think this is yes, of course.
Of course, he can. Anybody can.
Well, but when you phrase it like that, can he?
Okay. Can you make a candidacy for Leon Draisaitl over McDavid to win the Conn Smythe?
Yes, even that. Yes, Leon Draisaitl is just as important as Connor McDavid is to the Oilers. I mean, yes.
I mean, he has 3 OT winners in the 13 games that they won. So, Filk.
This is from the last question, but nonetheless funny.
Right, but again, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Mark. Yes, he absolutely can win the Conn Smythe Trophy.
Okay. So, does he have a candidacy, Filk, or is it McDavid's to lose?
I mean,
I promise 2 better ones in a second.
yeah, I mean, McDavid is leading in goals and assists right now. He's got 28 points, 22 assists. I think Draisaitl is 4 points behind him, if I remember correctly.
Draisaitl's got 9 goals.
He's got
9 goals and 27 points, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Points and assists, McDavid is leading in.
Yeah, I mean, he's that close in points. What? All right, so let's just say Leon goes off. There's a healthy Leon this series, obviously. He goes off. Yeah, he can.
Because after all, one comparison you could kind of make to it. Kind of. Not quite there.
Yeah, I think I might be with Dave on this one. I think the question probably should have been, will McDavid or Draisaitl win the Conn Smythe if Edmonton loses?
No, I still think that's going to be Sam Bennett. I think they're not going to do it that often. McDavid did something historic, but that's the reason why I didn't want to go there. Yeah, I know. Well, look, I had to come up with 5 of them. I had this one. I'm like, you know what? Why don't I go with this? Here's a better one, guys. Even though you did answer it, but go ahead, fight for it. Who needs to step up more for the Florida Panthers, Tkachuk or Reinhart, Filk?
I know Kachuk's hurt, but I think he needs to be the guy. I think he needs to go out there. I think he needs to have a statement game because I think the guys will all rally around him. Reinhart will score you the goals, and yes, he plays good.
Oh boy, what was there?
Oh my god. Yeah, I think Tkachuk having a statement game would do a lot more for Florida than Reinhart. So I think Tkachuk has to be the guy. I get he's struggling. He's fighting through an injury. He's clearly not the same. That injury from the Four Nations clearly nagging him. But I'm going with Tkachuk here.
Anthony, you think Reinhart?
Yeah, I said Reinhart before, and I was talking about players to step up, so I'll stick with that. Like I said, he's their best goal scorer. I think he's a guy that, you know, when he gets going, everybody else follows. So, and like Phil said, Tkachuk, I give a little bit of pass. I can tell, like, whenever the series ends, it's going to come out what he was dealing with since Four Nations, and he's hurt. He had this done. I think that's almost a lock. So, and also too, despite that, he is like Tkachuk is still playing physical. He's certainly trying. It's just I think he's limited right now. Whereas Reinhart, I think he could bring his game to another level.
I'll go Tkachuk because he's the attitude of that team, and he really is the pulse of that team. And if he gets going, anyway, he gets going, then Florida's going to be in much better shape. I mean, after all, he had 2 goals in the first game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. It really kind of set the tone for that series right away. And let's go to 2 big rumor trade pieces right now, because the other one we talked about a second ago, but a guy that's in the rumor mill right now, Jason Robertson, potentially being moved by the Dallas Stars. Anthony, which one do you think is going to be a bigger trade piece?
I think it's, no offense to Marty Natchez, but I mean, first off, he's already been traded. I think it's Jason Robertson by far. This is a player where if the Stars are actually serious about moving him, I question why, because I think there are plenty of other moves that can make the change and make up for the team. And I get it. When you make the conference finals 3 years in a row and you lose every time, certainly you have to switch things up. I think that's the mistake the Islanders made when they made it back-to-back conference finals. Lou didn't do enough. But still, with that said, there are other moves you can make. But if Robertson if they actually go ahead with this and they shop him or they're trying to move him, there are going to be a lot of teams that are lining up to get him. 25 years old, he's already a 2-time 40-goal scorer. Just a very, very good player. So, Jay, this I think the Phil was smirking at. I was trying to
that is one.
Yeah.
Again, killed in the comments, guys. Whatever.
But I think Robertson moving will honestly probably be a mistake if they go ahead with it. I think they should, move a guy like Mason Marchment. I think that he's a very good player. I think he's actually got a lot of value. I think he's got 1 year left. I think they could trade him, free up space. Maybe you let Duchesne go, you let Granlund go, and you have a lot of maneuvering on your roster and your cap. And keep Robertson around for a long time with Wyatt Johnson and Maverick Bourque, your future. So, yeah, if he's truly on the market, a lot of teams are going to line up to trade for him. So for this question, I absolutely think it's Robertson.
Filk?
Yeah, basically what Anthony said. There's not a whole lot I could really add to that. I don't know why Dallas would be looking to get rid of Jason Robertson. They have Jamie Benn's 9.5 is off the books now, or will be in a few weeks. Matthew Shane, you're either going to bring him back at like something close to what you gave him, or you're not going to bring him back at all. Dodonov is gone too. I mean, Maverick works in RFA, but he's not really going to command all that much because he really didn't play a lot. Defense, Cody Cece's gone. Brendan Smith is gone. But, they have a defense already, basically. I would move Matthew Dumbo or buy him out because I just don't think he's good. Ilya Lyubushkin is kind of a little overpaid at 3.25. I just think there's better usage of 3.25 million that you could do than Lyubushkin. But yeah, I mean, I'll say this: he's better than Carson Soucy, but the bar is like in hell there. I don't think you're moving Sagan just because he has a no movement clause, and I think he could still give you some more, like a couple more seasons of like good productive hockey. Maybe not to like his salary level, but or to his AAV rather, but like I still think that he can be a productive player. I just think that there are other moves that Anthony made, but like I don't see them moving Robertson. But if there was if these two players are both being moved, it would absolutely be Robertson.
Yeah, I would take Robertson in a heartbeat. Natchez doesn't have him in any real categories. If you go on Hockey Reference and you see them, he's got him in games played and penalty minutes. Goody. Just what you want from a top scorer. Robertson, there is a little bit of concern, and I get that if you refer to him, because he went from 79 points to 109, back down to 80 the next two seasons. But he scored 35 goals this year. I would take Jason Robinson in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even turn around and think of Marty Natchez again. And then, where this
we get it. I don't know. I have a hard time seeing it. I really do. I mean, listen, I get why they might be looking at him, especially after this playoff run. But if you look at his numbers from the two previous playoff runs, I think you would do a double take.
Well,
really.
He had 16 points the previous playoff run to this. So
I don't know if I'm buying that Hughes the problem. I mean, 16 and 19, and then 18 and 19 the year before. So 34 points in the previous 38 playoff games. And he was big for them. So, but he also played only 1551 of ice time this year, and then played 1944 the year before and 1846 the year before that. So he was playing almost 4 less minutes than last year. That's crazy. Why were they doing that?
I don't know, but you know what? If Pete DeBoer is out, maybe then that's...
Pete DeBoer should be out.
I mean, I can't believe he's not out already.
I'm surprised. I can't believe he handled that series the way he did.
I mean, that's one of the worst handlings of a player. Joe's saying right here, there could be an issue between Robertson and the coach, but the coach has got to get fired, right? Yes, we're hoping on that.
I think it's not that we're hoping. I think it's more so expecting. Like how do you mishandle Ottinger the way that you did, and then blame and like try to throw shade at Ottinger the way that he did?
Anthony, what are your thoughts on that? Because you missed the Stanley Cup Finals preview. We didn't get your opinion.
I mean, I get what he was trying to do. You know, it's a must-win game. Your goalie's left 2 goals and 2 shots. You're trying to send a message, but even afterwards, the post game, he didn't really do himself any favors with his comments. So I certainly get why there's questions about that and controversy. I mean, with that said, there's no denying his track record as a coach. When you get your team to the conference finals that close that many times, you're doing something right. But on the flip side, you know, sometimes also maybe he's not the guy to get the team over the hump, and you got to make a change. But you know, we'll see what happens. I would imagine if they're going to make a move, it maybe would have happened already. So I'm going to tend to think that he'll be back, but you know, I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, this is. I just always say with him, he gets his teams to a certain level, but he can't get them over the top. And this is a guy that's taken 2 teams to a Stanley Cup Finals. And as a matter of fact, both times his teams went to a Game 6, but even still, I'm still sitting there going, and what else are you going to do? So
I just think he has a shelf life, and he's already hit it.
Always does. Always does. Around year 3, you usually There's a lot of stops he's had. He's barely gone to a year 4. I think year 4 in San Jose, I'd have to double check with DeBoer. I think that was the year he went to the Stanley Cup Finals.
This would be interesting, but I don't know if they want to. Well, that
Now
might
could be a great spot for a lot of players.
Like assets for, including the 4th overall pick. I mean, yeah, like all right, if you're going to do that, and you're going to give up the 4, because like there's been smoke about that 4th overall pick being available. That Utah wants to get more of a help us now type of asset. Jason Robertson for something for a package that revolves around that 4th overall pick, and then probably some other prospects in there. Maybe a Daniil Butt is in there. Maybe Simashev is in there. I don't know, but like something like that makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah. I wish that's not going to happen. I wish.
Let me go with this one. How about this one? I was about to say this, guys. Better piece for the Mammoth, Marner or Robertson then?
Well, I mean, Marner cost them nothing but dollars, whereas Robertson cost them assets. So for that reason, I'll say Marner, because Utah's on the right path. Like they got a lot of good. They got a lot of good players. I don't know, and that's just Jason Robertson's great. And if you could get him just for the 4th overall pick straight up, then I say do it. But if they have to add assets on top of it, I would hesitate. I think they should stay the course. With that said, I do think they're gonna go after Mitch Marner, but I also think that Marner isn't going to end up there. I know that people saying Utah's going to get Marner. I don't think he is going to choose there. Personally, I think they're
going to try to dance with him.
I think they'll be involved, but when it comes to Marner, I mean, there's some talk about Vegas lately, and they don't like to miss out on star players. They'll cut through. They'll move somebody to make it happen. They'll ship out. I don't know, William Karlsson, or they'll make a move. I think Mitch Marner might go to the bright lights of Vegas. I do. It's a good thing about it. No state income tax, which has been all the rage lately about do they have advantages over other teams. They're a good team, good ownership, nice arena. So yeah, I think little Miss Marner, I think he might be headed to Nevada as his next team, not Utah. That's what I would think.
It wouldn't be a bad decision for him, and it wouldn't be a decision that a lot of, because Utah likes a shiny new toy. They always do. So,
you mean Vegas? Utah's not been around.
That's what I meant to say. Vegas. Yeah, Vegas always likes the shiny new toy.
Yeah.
Whatever's the newest thing that's on the market. All right, Anthony, blind rankings I have too, and I know you're going to troll me on one of them. So I have scapegoats for teams that lost in these playoffs or the best games of this playoff run so far.
I'll do scapegoats.
All right, so we're going to do scapegoats for the teams that lost so far. Here we go. And we'll start actually with Mitchell Marner.
5.
Andrei Svechnikov.
4.
Pete DeBoer.
3.
Jordan Binnington.
No, 2.
And Kyle Connor.
Maybe 1, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Connor turned in a pretty good playoff run. I wasn't giving you a Matthews or a Hellebuck in there. But Kyle Connor actually turned in a pretty good playoff run, but he also kind of had moments where he disappeared too, I thought. All right. Are the Rangers going to retain their first round pick this year or forfeit to keep next year's pick? Phil, what's your thoughts on this? Because I think they're going to retain it.
I think they're going to retain it too. I don't think they plan on being as bad as they were this past year. I don't. I think even with the changes that they're going to make, they're going to try to be. They're going to try to be a contender next year. I think they're just going to try to do like an on-the-fly retool. I don't know how possible it's going to be, considering that there's a lot of work to be done. But I definitely do not see them being as bad And you know what? I get it. It's a deeper draft next year. I could see that pick being anywhere in the late teens, 20s.
Anthony,
when do they have to decide by?
48 hours before the draft.
Okay, all right. So they still got some time.
Yeah.
Anthony, one comment that I made a while ago is you don't bring in Mike Sullivan to rebuild.
No, I don't think you do either.
No, I'm gonna say like Filk said. I think they're gonna keep it because again, I don't think they envision themselves being bad again next year. I think they view this as a one-off, and they plan to be back to being in playoff contention next season. So I'd be surprised if they gave up the pick. All
right, and Filk blind one ranking. Oh, and when do we start seeing some moves or deals done? I'll tell you what, JE.
Finals ends. I think that's when you're going to start.
It should be that, but remember, Linus Ullmark was traded 2 hours before Game 7 of the biggest Game 7 possibly in the history of the NHL.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
The NHL should do this. Even if you make a trade, you're muzzled until the end of the.
I think not for another 2 weeks, I guess, which lines up with the finals. But Brock Nelson deal done. That's a re-signing. I thought you were talking about like trades.
Right. If you're talking about trades and stuff like that, that's a different story. If you got a guy who's still property of a team, they can re-sign anytime they want.
I don't think there's going to be much trades though for at least another 2 weeks.
All right, Filk. Best playoff game so far this year. Ready?
Okay.
Vegas Edmonton Game 3. That was the Riley Smith last second goal.
4.
Winnipeg St. Louis Game 7.
Oh man, I might have to go 1 for that.
Montreal Washington Game 1.
5.
Colorado Dallas Game 7.
3.
And last night's Game 1, Edmonton versus Florida.
2. That's actually, yeah. I mean, realistically enough, that could be a 1-2 for me. Yeah, looking at it now.
And I still think there's going to be better games that's going to be going on.
Sure, could be
very, very soon.
This is from NHL Trade Alert on Twitter. Some notes from Elliott on the Fan Hockey Show. Mentions Byram again. Rangers are doing a lot of talking. A possible Peterka trade is agent given. This is New Jersey is looking around. Utah moving 4th overall is not a no. So the Rangers are doing a lot of talking. Maybe a deal is coming sooner than later. And I'd imagine some of that talking is probably with Buffalo.
Anthony, go ahead.
Well, before we get back to that, Mark, I had a blind ranking for you, so I didn't want to get too far ahead.
Oh, God.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, Anthony, here we go.
You're gonna rank first overall picks, previous first overall picks.
Oh, I know where Anthony's going with this. Go ahead.
Here comes Joe Murphy, Nail Yakupov.
No, go ahead, Anthony.
Chris Phillips.
You ready, Mark?
I'm ready.
All right. Eric Johnson.
Oh, God.
Now, does that go for the team that drafted him or the team that he got traded to?
You can even say in general at this point because you know what he is.
Yeah. I'll go with 4.
Okay, 4 for Eric Johnson.
Yeah.
Rick DiPietro.
How did I know this was coming?
I hate that I got this one so early. I'm actually going to go Rick DiPietro at 3. I think Rick DiPietro, there's a lot of disrespect.
He's going to have something ridiculous. Nail Yakupov is definitely going to be in this.
Nail Yakupov, Chris Phillips.
Definitely going to be in this.
Alexander Daig.
Of course.
Wish I could move DiPietro up now. 2.
2? Okay.
2.
Brian.
So I think I know who you want me to say number 5.
Brian Lawton.
For historical significance, I'm going to say number 1.
Oh God.
Patrick Stepan.
Oh, thank God. Number 5. Oh, Patrick Stepan, who it's amazing how a guy can have.
It actually didn't work out that bad for you.
It didn't work out that bad. I would have moved Dig down, DiPietro ahead of Lawton. I mean, Lawton being the first American to be drafted number 1 overall.
The 5 again. It was Dig, Lawton, DiPietro, Eric Johnson,
and Patrick Stepan.
Patrick Stepan. Probably have Stepan 5, Lawton 4, Dig 3. I would say DiPietro 2 and Eric Johnson 1.
Yeah, Eric Johnson would be 1. Yeah.
Yeah, Eric Johnson would be 1.
A very long career, and for a bit, it looked like he was going to be a franchise type defenseman for like a bit, and then like the Shattenkirk trade happened. He just never.
He got moved for Chris Stewart, right?
No, Shattenkirk.
No, I meant Eric Johnson.
Well, yeah, I think Chris Stewart was in that trade.
It wasn't Anthony Stewart.
I don't think it was Anthony Stewart.
No. But Shattenkirk was in that trade. Yes, I do know that. But it was one of the Stewarts.
Yeah, it was Chris Stewart. February 18, 2011. Traded by the Colorado Avalanche with a second-round pick in 2011, which ended up being Ty Ratty. It's a funny name. And Kevin Shattenkirk to the St. Louis Blues for first-round draft pick in 2011, which ended up being Duncan Siemens, which was a bad pick.
Wait, what was the name?
Duncan Siemens.
God, change your name, buddy.
Siemens.
Doesn't make it better. He still has to pronounce it that way.
Yeah, I know. And then Eric Johnson and Jay McClement.
Oh my goodness. All right.
I think back to Filk said, I think Paterka is gonna go if you get the right deal for him.
Yeah, I think he's gone. It just something's been going on there for a while. He wants out. I think a lot of the guys want out in Buffalo. I wonder if the Rangers go after Owen Power.
How does Kevin Adams still have a job? You'd say the Pagula is all you want, but I mean, my goodness, just
Because
nobody seems to want to play with the
have any idea about how hockey works. They don't. They're football. They're football ownership. That's it.
Sean, I'm going to answer this one. Even if the Rangers do make a move, we shouldn't know about it. You might hear a leak about it, but there shouldn't be an announcement of it, which I guess in one way it's, if it gets leaked out, you might as well just announce it anyway. But I still think that the finals should be the only thing anybody talks about.
See, you know what makes, what's a huge difference.
Hold on. Sorry. Update. Cam Robinson from Elite Prospects, Hockey Robinson. One player whose name keeps popping up at the combine is Keandre Miller. I'm told the Rangers have let teams know he's available, but clubs are weighing that option versus the offer sheet route. Appears to be significant interest in the 25-year-old. Thank you to Joey for that one, by the way. He just said that to me in DM.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's also, Keandre Miller's been on a lot of the trade boards, Saravalli's.
I could really see them dealing him to Buffalo.
Chris Johnson.
Really good.
Yeah, I could see him going for sure. I wouldn't be surprised. What I was saying before, Mark, was when you're saying trade shouldn't happen. If you remember last year, between the finals ending and the draft, it was only a couple of days, and then free agency was a couple of days after that.
Yeah,
this year it's more spread out. If there's a game 7, I think it's like June 17th or June 18th, which
is maybe like 10 days
more. Yeah, that's a lot more time. And I think last year's setup, a lot of general managers.
So in like 3 days, right?
Yeah, they didn't care. They needed to take care of business and do what they had to do. So they made moves anyway. This year, because of that 10-day gap between the series,
Yeah, there's time for deals to develop.
Yeah, there's more time to wait on these things. It's not
Absolutely.
as so.
I just think that Chris Drury, like, in order to have a repeat of last offseason, and I'm not saying last offseason happened because of Drury. It's obviously Jacob Trouba was the big driving factor there with his nonsense. But I think Drury wants to get on top of things and wants to get these deals done by the draft so that this way he can have everything lined up properly heading into first day of free agency for free agent frenzy.
Yeah.
The comment on David, your comment here, because I wanted to address this. I'm not saying that they didn't own the Sabres before the Bills. I'm saying they understand football more than they do hockey. That's what I really think. I really think they understand football more. And maybe you're right. Maybe there is a committee that understands football better, and that's why their ownership group and their front office has been 10 times better there. But whatever they're doing with the Sabres, everything needs to change wholesale.
We could probably talk about these in a separate segment, but one thing I would like to say is, like, what would it take, or what's the to-do list? Maybe next week we'll try to talk about this. The to-do list for every single GM right now. Nope. Sean, sorry, no way.
No,
Absolutely
I don't
not.
think so. I don't think they're going to go nuts. You know what? Could they go after him? Yeah, but I'm telling you, I think Toronto goes to like $8.5 million for him. I really do. And Nyquist was actually saying it too, and I agreed with him right off the bat. I said it last week. I think they're going to go whole league, not to 10 million, but I think they're going to go 8. The most I could see somebody going for Bennett is 9. Like, if there's a bidding war for him, I could see somebody possibly going 9 for him, but 9 is very risky for a 50-point player. And yes, I get it. This is a guy that steps up and you're paying him for playoff performance. Not that I agree with that, because it's the salary cap affects the regular season. Like, that's really, like, if you go and pay him for playoffs and he doesn't help you get there because he only is capable of giving you 50 points in the regular season, maybe 60 if you're lucky, then that's a problem. I mean, that's going to hamper your roster.
There was a great line that was said this week on the Steve Dangle podcast about, it's amazing how hockey, you need to have a lineup that gets you through the regular season and a lineup that gets you through the postseason. And
yeah, I get what you're saying, Sean, but I maybe they are in this discussion. I don't see them going to the length that it's going to need to. I don't see it.
yeah, I don't think.
Let's get back to Dominic here, because he asked a good question. I don't. They're going to send that 2026 pick out to Pittsburgh. I really think that they're going to try to be better next year. They're going to try to contend, and that pick is going to be in the late teens, maybe early 20s. I don't know if they win any playoff rounds, but 27, I don't think they're going to touch that. I really do think that they go. I think they go really kind of in that direction. And that's really where you're going to see them kind of sit there and, just try to get what they can get out of next year. I don't think they're going to trade players for picks, though. It just doesn't seem like the direction they want to go in.
No, and they do need to restock their cupboard a little bit, especially since they've done nothing with the one that they had. But they're not gonna. They're still thinking right now. Even though Drury's going to completely, supposedly remake this roster, we'll see about that in the next couple weeks. But I think I'm having trouble trying to say that and be optimistic about it. That what the Rangers are going to do. I could see them giving up a first-round draft pick this offseason and not using. Sorry, let me correct that. Giving up the one. I could see them giving up the one for the draft this year, and then giving up one next season in the middle of all these trades that they're supposed to make. Look, it's about time the Drury is going to address what this team is very much lacking. They have no jam when it comes to the playoffs. And I give them all the credit for getting to where they were last year. But it was obvious Florida was the better team. It was obvious.
They're lacking youth and they're lacking jam, like you said. And yeah, I agree. They need to restock the cupboard.
This is the question. Does the culture of the front office not rear its head for the upcoming season with Sullivan at the helm? I think there's going to be a little bit more harmony with Sullivan at the helm because, be you guys. But it's just.
I mean, the guy that was really kind of the problem is still there, though. Like, Drury was the guy that they had a problem with, and he's still there. And Dolan doubled down on him and said, hey, he's not going anywhere. You're either going to deal with it or you can get the hell out. So that's
By the
really
way, I love this one. I'm about to do a swan dive into Anthony's hot tub.
I think that's Salvato.
But here's the problem, Filk, that I have to ask this question. It's sort of the chicken and the egg. Which is the problem? Is the fact that Drury is finally looking at this team and going, this team is not a winning team. Or are they looking at Drury and being like, well, why you're demanding the impossible? Like, there's got to be a reason why you can't just pin it on the GM. It's not the GM's fault that he had really one malcontent and he had to do an uncomfortable situation with another guy.
I'm not pinning it on the GM, though. What I'm saying is that the guy that they had the problem with is still there, so maybe some of these issues can come back. But, I mean, you got to get rid of Kreider. He's checked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a way to get rid of Zibanejad, do it because he's checked out. I would love to move Panarin if he was willing to waive, just because I would love to try to go in a different direction. But I mean, really, this comment I'm trying to highlight. The team is like a 2-year window for contention, and then like you're kind of starting over after that.
Yeah.
So like but I don't think that they brought in Mike Sullivan to start over in 2 years. I don't think they do. I don't think they do that.
Well, can Mike Sullivan be the leader that the team needs? Because
he had to go. He
had to go.
He had to go. I don't think that has any type of hold on what they do going forward or their direction. He had to go.
It was clear as day that Jacob Trouba was checked out.
Should have accepted the trade in the offseason and not been an asshole.
Right. He would have been in with the Detroit Red Wings. And who knows? Maybe they might have been in the playoffs. But it's something that he wanted to play hardball and say, oh, let's run it. He could say whatever reason why. Maybe he really did want to run it back, thinking this was their chance to win it one more year. But how do you come out and say this is the last dance? And on a team that didn't win anything either. This is the last dance. Okay, great.
Well, that riot act has been read before. The 2018 Capitals were read that riot act by Ted Leonsis. He basically came in, and Anthony and I, like I said, we interviewed Joe Beninati and Craig Laughlin and Alan May back then when we were off the post. And that's what Joe Beninati said. And they got their shit together and won. But that's with a better leadership group. That was with Alexander Ovechkin and guys like John Carlson and, those guys. But I just think that at some point you're going to need to have to restock the cupboard.
Mm-hmm.
And because, look at this. JT Miller is what, 32? Or 30. He's the Benejad age, so yeah, I think he's 32. Yeah, he's 32. He just turned 32 back in March. So you're going to have, like, I would say 3, maybe 4 more decently productive years out of him. If you're lucky, you have him for 5. But Zibanejad is another one that you have for 5. Does Zibanejad play wing now? Like, if he stays, is he a winger going forward as opposed to a center? It seems that way.
It seems like that's what he thinks he is. I can't help but look at Mika Zibanejad and just wonder, is this really a guy that you see going in the corner and coming out with the puck?
Yeah, I don't. I don't. That's why I see JT Miller as kind of being that guy. I just and I get it. People are going to say Shesterkin over Jari. Yes,
you need more than just a goaltender. You can win with a subpar goaltender and a good defense.
But for
as
all
opposed
this
to say,
talk about Shesterkin, he hasn't been carrying them in the regular season these last 2 seasons. That hasn't been the case.
No, and I know everybody's going to look over and Filk, I know everybody's going to look over and say that, but his play was very much down last year.
Have not been great.
Yeah.
And you're going to blame the defense and blame everybody else and all this and that. And yeah, I get it. But now you're paid $11.5 million. You've got to step up and be that guy.
James, the real answer to this question is going to be by the time we get to September.
Yeah.
Because Chris Drury, he's got his hospital mask on and he's putting it on, and he's got to do some major surgery on this team. This team can't be a redux of even last year's team. Oh dear goodness. But I mean, they need to get deeper. They need to find a way to get tougher. And I've gone to this well all the time. The Florida Panthers had the stones, the absolute stones to say, we just won the President's Trophy. We got absolutely slobber knocked out of the rink by our rivals, and we're not good enough to win. So if that's the case, then they turned around, they traded the greatest player they ever drafted at that time. Barkov has clearly surpassed him on that. But I mean, now, Jonathan Huberdeau is off in Calgary. Matt Tkachuk is over here now, and the results speak for themselves the last 3 years.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be
there's interest in Kreider.
There's interest in Kreider. Steve Dangle was talking about that too, especially I guess if they move on from
John Tavares.
Mitch Marner or Tavares, then he becomes the net front guy, and he's still the best net front guy in the league right now.
Yeah, I think he was kind of hurt this year. I mean, still scored over 20 goals. There's definitely value there. How much is really the question. But
and the other
people are acting like that he's some sort of negative asset, or the same people that told me that Scott Gomez had negative trade value. Look at what he returned. Same people who said that you were going to have to give up a first-round pick to move Jacob Trouba. Didn't have to give up a first-round pick to move Jacob Trouba. You actually got a roster player in that deal too.
And a second-round pick. Didn't they get a second-round pick in that?
Yeah. For a second rounder? No. I think you could get more than that.
You can definitely get more than that, because name another power forward that's going to be on the market.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody that has Kreider's skill set that can bring you what he can bring you when he's healthy. I don't know. In a second, no. That's poor value for that. Sorry.
NYR would in a second.
Jay's saying that the Rangers would do it for a second round pick.
No.
About it. No, I disagree highly.
No, but if you could get let's say for instance, you could get a roster player or maybe go up to a first with some salary retention, would you do that?
How much salary is being retained?
That's a good question. Maybe you could get Chris Kreider at you just retain $2 million.
If you're retaining $2 million, it better be a haul.
Yeah. So
because if you're like the value with retention on him, you're going to be getting a guy that could score you 30 plus goals, and he's a bounce back candidate. You can't tell me that you're going to look at this guy and say that he wasn't hurt at some point this season. I mean, we know that he was dealing with a busted hand. Like that's been documented. So we know that for sure. You're going to tell me that his career low, not career low, but he's had the worst shooting percentage he had since 2018-19. And that was the year that he started off with 20 goals in his first 38 games and had 8 the rest of the year. His shooting percentage was just terrible after that hot start. He was 14.5. The year before, 15.9, 39 goals. The year before that, 15.7, 36 goals. The year before that, 20.2. And that was his 52-goal year. The year before that, 19.6. That was 20 goals in 50 games in that shortened season. And then he had 24 in only 63 games and at a 15.4. You're going to tell me that he can't get back to a 16, 17% shooting percentage? I honestly think that some people are going to take a look at that. And even if you get that 30-goal player, maybe 30-goal, 50-point player at $4.5 million, that's tremendous value, especially with this cap going up.
Especially when you look at since 2021 that he was, I'm looking to get a number that's a little bit more favorable, but we'll go with 2021. Since 2021, you have, am I in power play goals? That's where I'm making the mistake. He's 4th in power play goals scored. That's the reason why I was screwed up, guys. I was at power play points. Since 2017, he's 10th. And I mean, part of that has to do with Mika Zibanejad was the one-time option, so he was scoring goals. If he didn't get it, it went in the net. But you're talking about a guy that's still a premier power play goal scorer, and he could really help out a team that needs to produce on the power play, and that's contender.
This is interesting. I think Jamie Benn re-signs, and I think for a lot less, maybe even like half of what he's making. But Chris Kreider to Dallas could give them that net front presence that they've lacked since Joe Pavelski retired.
Mm-hmm. And also a different dimension than what Joe Pavelski provided. Joe Pavelski was great at doing those just deflections.
He's checked out. That's why. He's checked out. He's not happy here anymore.
He's worth more to the Rangers moving on from him. One guy I could compare this to is Adam Graves. And Adam Graves, even at 31 years old, Adam Graves was coming off the 2000-2001 season. It was only 10 goals, 16 assists. That was a year after he scored 23 and 17. Let me know if any of those numbers sound a little bit familiar, even though I know Kreider had really good numbers. But San Jose still dealt Mikhail Samuelsson for him and another player, and they got 2 more years out of Graves. That was about it.
Yeah, I think this is really kind of the time to move him. I mean, the whole Graves thing sucked because his father and his son died in the same week.
Oh, yeah.
Awful. I think that the Rangers were moving in a different direction. They should have probably moved Leach at that 2001 deadline. They would have gotten an absolute haul for him considering what Rob Blake got. And you could argue that Leach gave you more offensively than Blake did at that point. I mean, he led defensemen in scoring that year. That was his last great year, but I think you could have gotten a haul for him. I do think that Kreider fits in Dallas. I think that, like I said, I think he comes in and he kind of can play the game that they want to play and be that power play option for them. I think he would help Toronto's power play out big time.
Yes.
I think he would help Boston's power play out big time. And yeah, there is value for him for the Rangers, but it's just, I think the bridge is kind of burnt.
The other thing I also can't help but keep going back to, guys, and I've been doing this since October when he signed the deal. Once Lafreniere signed his deal to make $7.7 million, you have to feature him more. Now you're saying this guy is a focal point of our team. You have to use him, and you can't just not use him because you're afraid of hurting Chris Kreider's feelings. It's that simple. Although I do like what J.E. said. Imagine Chris Kreider with Zook and Kirill the Thrill.
Boldy can play that down low game.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah, I think he can kind of fit that a little bit. I don't think he's going to be Mr. Deflection or anything like that, but he can shift between net front and bumper and do a lot of that. Yeah, I just think that I think he could get more than a second round pick, a lot more than that. I'm not saying he's getting a young roster player and another top prospect on top of that. I could see him getting a first, maybe an unestablished young roster player that like has some potential to be something more, or it could be a first and like a B level prospect, not an A level. I just think there's still a lot of value, and because he has multiple years left on that contract, I think that's really kind of what helps out with the Rangers there. Like, I think teams are going to know that he was kind of hurt this year. And yeah, health is a concern. Yeah, health is definitely a concern. He's 34, but he's still a very good skater. He's an absolute gym rat. No, I don't think a second and a third is enough. I don't think that's enough. That doesn't do anything for them.
And by the way, Phil,
I honestly think you're really going to be surprised at what he returns. I really do.
And my only concern for him, Phil, probably would have to be whether or not it's the back injury and like what's going on over there. Because back injuries, they don't get better.
One is really it. I'm not worried about the hand. I'm worried about the back.
Yeah. Doctor said I need a backiotomy. Toronto has no draft capital, but who knows? Maybe they trade bottom six guys.
Maybe they send Nick Robertson, and I'm not high on Nick Robertson anymore, but I don't think it's even just this. Yes, the one.
Go ahead, you clicked it.
Yeah, Marc keeps talking about the one dumb GM. I think teams around the league see him in a brighter light than a lot of fans do. Like, we all thought Jacob Trouba, they're going to have to retain salary. They're going to have to move assets. No.
Yeah.
Chris Drury finds a way. Like, you could say whatever you want about him, his overall body of work and the way that he handles players, whatever you want. But the one thing Chris Drury is very good at is that he knows how to get rid of players without having to give up like prime assets and getting the most that he can for them in return for a trade. Yeah, you can talk about the Buchnevich deal. Yes, I know.
Yes.
Everybody's talk about that. But, everybody, for that deal, I could think of a bunch of deals where everybody thought that he was going to get bent over a barrel, and he didn't.
Yeah, and the Ducks are one of those teams you got to watch for, because I think the Ducks are ready to take the next step to try to be a playoff team.
I could see them in on Kreider over Panarin. I think Kreider fits the way that they want to play.
Yeah.
Trevor Zegras, I think, is gone. I think they finally pull the trigger on getting rid of him.
Yeah. My question is it going to snap in at any time for Trevor Zegras?
I'm not worried about that. What I was pointing at is that I don't think they want any more players like Zegras.
Yeah. They don't want finesse.
They want Verbeek clearly has Verbeek, like Drury, clearly has a type of player and a style of play that he wants his team to play with. Trevor Zegras doesn't fit that in Anaheim anymore, and I don't think Artemi Panarin fits in Anaheim because of that reason. But Chris Kreider, on the other hand, definitely could fit. And Anaheim, you're right. I think they want to take the next step forward. So that could kind of help them. And, I mean, he's kind of a veteran leader. I mean, Their leadership group right now is Gudas as captain, Killorn with an A, and Strome with an A. I think I'd rather have Kreider than Strome, and I don't think Gudas is really a guy that should be wearing a C, but he might be the emotional leader behind the scenes there.
Correct.
So you could bring in someone like Kreider, help boost that group a little bit. But he could also just go in there and not have to worry about anything, and that could kind of rejuvenate him a bit. And he's got some guys that he's familiar with. Strome's there. Vetrano's there.
This would be funny. Sorry. This would be funny. Kreider to go to Montreal. Give Joey D a shout out.
Great. That was great.
Again, people in Montreal, let it go. Dimitri Amelin tripped him.
Alexei.
Whatever. Who cares? It is Alexei Amelin. I do know that, but still, again. That you could see the whip around the skates of his stick. And I know every time I ever go on a breakaway, I think, how can I crash into the goalie? What are your minds?
Yeah, because I'm sure that's what Chris Kreider was thinking about. Just crashing into the goalie and not scoring there. And, getting the Rangers one step closer to getting eliminated.
Oh, I know. At that time it was game 1 of the Stanley Cup, the Eastern Conference Finals, I mean. Yeah. That's what he was thinking. Celebrity Day. All right. All right. Phil, let's take a couple more questions. We'll wrap this one up.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get the music started. Play the music, if you will. There's also, by the way, we're talking about the Shoresy Classic. Definitely looking to try to get there.
Yeah, I think the gold package, the VIP package, is sold out though. It just sucks.
What's the VIP?
Well, that's the meet and greet and the Q&A and everything like that.
Oh, that would have been nice.
Yeah. Apparently there was another preseason or another pre-sale, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was on before the other pre-sale that's going on tomorrow. And that happened on like Tuesday or something, or Monday. And I didn't even know that. Awful.
There's a lot of questions in this offseason. I almost can't wait to get to the silly season, as it's always called, because this is just, there's so many more things. Hey, I want to know what the New York Rangers are going to do this offseason.
Why do you egg him on?
Well, can you do a David Quinn impression?
No, I can't. I don't want to.
I think I might throw up in my mouth if I actually think about that. Josh, we had a couple of predictions, and I actually think Florida wins game 2. This is going to be a knockdown, drag-out series. And, I mean, I went with the Guile theme. I could have gone with Mortal Kombat or even just round 2. Fight! So, do you think that NYR will make a trade with Boston? Yeah, my famous last words.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, if you could fleece Don Sweeney for a bunch of assets, I mean, yeah.
Do you think like you can get like a Fabian Lysell or something, or they're all untouchable over there, right?
I mean, I would love to get a Fabian Lysell and a first for Kreider, but I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, follow
like
that
you get a Fabian
never.
Lysell and a second for Kreider, I think I'd take that and run.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like I think that was the Deadpool Wolverine thing where they did that at the end of the movie because they were messing around with people with the
Oh, I think it was actually the first Deadpool when that happened.
Oh, God.
Wow, and I just mind your fucking business is talking about this right now. About Chris Kreider.
What are they saying?
Well, it's an Instagram video, so I mean, look, Chris Kreider, he has earned his stripes as a New York Ranger. It's just, and by the way, yes, it was Ferris Bueller too, but also Deadpool, the first one. They did a takeoff of that.
Yeah.
Chris Kreider's earned his all the respect and maybe even like being honored one night. I don't know if his number is Raptors worthy. I don't think so.
No.
But there's certainly a way to honor the guy for what he's done.
Yeah, and he absolutely deserves a video. Like,
Yeah.
let me be 110% clear about that. He deserves a video, and a more lengthy video than like a 30-second one for guys like the other guys that they've done who've come back.
Ryan Strome.
Yeah, Ryan Strome, stuff like that.
Yeah, Ryan Strome highlights, watching him miss empty nets. So I mean that's kind of that. I mean, we're gonna see how this is all gonna shake out, and soon enough, guys. According to Dave, he's saying that Aaron Rodgers agreed with.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of obvious. We kind of.
Well, I was just wondering when and if it was going to happen, because like you talk about like how that was the build up, and that was like really the word that was going around, and it just been floating around for like a month or actually like a couple months now.
Yeah. And again, everybody, I have no ill will against Chris Kreider. It's just that it's asset management, and it's a player whose game is going to be declining. I mean, it's that simple. So, all right, guys, that was the end of our 5 minutes. Thank you very much to my cousin who supplied the song years ago. And also, thank you to you guys for watching us yet again. We got 200 of you that are watching right now, which is fantastic. If you missed anything, check out the replay. Go look at it on demand. I have the chapter markers up there, hopefully before 5 o'clock, and on audio. And let's see what happens in game 2, guys, because this series, settle in. We're going to be here for a while. Thank you all very much.